Plugin of the week is the Universal Audio Neve 31102 EQ. The Universal Audio came out with an emulation of the 31102 EQ by Neve. And this is sort of the middle child of EQs from the Neve era. So when we think about and talk about Neve EQs, most people would initially point to the 1073. And that is perhaps the all-time classic Neve EQ, probably the one that's most legendary of all of the EQs that have come out from the Neve, from that realm, from that era. And these are the actual Rupert Neve designed ones. So you have to kind of consider that, there was an era where Rupert Neve started the company in the 60s, and he created the 2254 and the 1073 and a bunch of the other 80 series components. And then he left Neve. So all of the Neve stuff that came after that era was created by other people. And so when you get to the V series consoles and the 88RS and all of that sort of stuff, that was post Rupert. Okay, so this is like from his legacy. And this is sort of sandwiched in between the 1084, which is the famous 4-band EQ, and has some of the characteristics of that, or that led into that, and then the 1073. So you have the sort of middle child kind of syndrome here. But this is a really powerful EQ. It was originally created for the 1068 console, or I'm sorry, the 8068 console. So there was a whole series of consoles that were 80 series consoles. And they all had, like, there was 8068, 8078, 8088, 8028, 8038, and they all had, some of them had the same EQs. Some also had the 1061 EQs. So there was a variety of different modules that were placed in there, but they were essentially kind of separate modularized components that could be popped in or taken out. And some of the different sizes were interchangeable, some weren't, right? So the 1084 was a bigger overall size, because it was a 4-band, not a 3-band. So what I wanted to do is just kind of show this off a little bit, and start by getting like a quick basic sound to just kind of show you how to work it a little bit. So what you have here with the EQ is you have a basic input gain control and some harmonic distortion emulation in it. You have a high frequency shelf. You have a high mid band, which ranges from, or mid band EQ, which ranges from 350 up to 7.2K. Then you have, on the high band, you have a selection of different frequencies, 10, 12, and 16K, where the 1073 only had 12K, and the 1061 had 10K, but no other frequency options. And the 1081 had the most frequency options, going all the way down to 3K, if I remember right, 3.2K. And then you got a low frequency shelf here, and you also have a high pass and low pass filter. So unlike the 1073, which only has the high pass filter, it's more like the 1081 that has both options. And then you have the EQ in and out. You have a phase inversion switch, and it's fairly straightforward. You also have the high Q button, and what the high Q button does is it works here with the high mid band, or the mid frequency band, and it narrows the Q, or the width of what it is that you're working with. So this gives us some flexibility in terms of how we work the plugin. So let's just start by, I'm just going to kind of really whip up a quick mix here, just to kind of give you an idea of what this does here. So we got a, so I'm going to start by just kind of sweeping in a little bit of low end. And do I actually have this? Yep, it's in circuit. So this is just for a second there, it almost seems like I'm not. Okay. So I'm going to kind of take out a little bit of mid-range in here, and then maybe just add in like just a touch of air, although I'm going to roll off some on the top here. And you kind of get like you can get like a nice focus. This has like a bit of like an open, very open kick drum sound, so it can kind of lack a little bit of body or a solidity on the low end, right? So it doesn't sound like it was packed with anything. What you'll find with this is that it's a very transparent EQ. So here I'm going to actually kind of filter out some of this kind of stuff here, and then kind of boost in. Let's see if I can boost in like a little bit of some snap. And I'll put the high Q in there to kind of make that a little bit narrower. Okay. And then here we can hear the rest of the tracking session going on in the room. So here, with the overheads here, I'm going to kind of work this a little bit. And there's already some filtering on the bottom end, so I'm just going to kind of supplement that a little bit here. So I'm going to take away a little bit of that boxiness there. So I'm just going to be a little bit more careful here about the amount of low end that I'm boosting there. And take away just a little bit more, because you're limited with some of the frequencies here. So let's just kind of see what we got here. So let's move over to the hi-hat. And let's see, I may have to go back to the beginning here to get a little bit more of the hi-hat. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of focus a more of like a little slightly more middle frequency, and then kind of tone back a little bit. Or maybe I'll do it here on the high band. Right, and then that's the section where it doesn't play, of course. And this is where the high Q switch may come in handy. And I'm going to filter a little bit more of this away. And let that kind of cut through. And then here, I'm going to get the toms to kind of come through here. So let's see if I can find like a good tom fill. I think I got one right here. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give these guys a little bit of snap on the top. And that's where these are really great. And then I'm going to do kind of like the classic thing. This is like the classic, usually somewhere like around 500 or so is what makes the tom sound a little bit boxy. And then, but I'm going to go with a 350 here, and I'm going to wheel in a little bit of body, a little bit of low end. And I'm going to move this down to the lower frequency. Yeah. All right. So there we got a little bit of a vibe there. So let's just kind of hear this. And bring in the bass. And I'm going to just wheel in a little bit of... Now that I've opened up that low mid from the drums, I can kind of swing this right into the bass. And I'm not going to mess with the low frequencies, but I am going to kind of take a little bit, warm up a little bit of the top end here, and maybe add in a little note there, like around 700. And then we have 2 acoustic guitars. I'm not sure I'm going to add in the 10K. I think I'm going to just kind of find like a nice, maybe this is where, I'm not sure if this will interfere with the hi-hat because I'm kind of selecting a similar frequency here, but just kind of drive. And I got to filter off some top end, and just to kind of focus them a little bit. Now we have the other acoustic. So what you end up with here is kind of like a really cool thing. So I'm gonna leave this. Well, I might as well bring in the vocals since we've come this far, and then just kind of throw this guy.
There's music in your
So
voice.
rather than keeping this confusing, I'll just kind of...
A song so soft
This is the
and
classic
sweet
place.
that I had no choice, my love. I'm praying for a whisper in my ear, just a sound to make it clear. So I'm sitting here waiting by the phone. Talk to me, baby, I don't wanna be wrong. Talk to me, baby, what's the use in taking so long? I will be waiting.
This is the one where we didn't kind of dig into anything. And this is a good place for this frequency here. And then just kind of tuck a touch of that out of there.
You love me too, so I'm sitting here waiting by the phone. Talk to me, baby, I don't wanna be wrong. Talk to me,
Okay, so let's go back here, and then let's just
There's
so you get an
music
idea of
in
like
your
the openness
voice.
of it.
A song so soft and sweet that I had no choice. My love, I'm praying for a whisper in my ear, just a sound to make it clear. So I'm sitting here waiting by the phone. Talk to me, baby, I don't wanna be wrong. Talk to me, baby, what's the use in taking so long? I will be waiting for you to come on home.
So there's the real Neve transformer warmth, yet the openness and clarity and of the EQ. And even though it has limited frequencies, when you work with it, you can really shape and kind of weave things together, which is kind of what I was giving as an example here. You can really hear how it just really opens up the sound and the depth of the mix. So one quick listen, and we'll shut it down.
A song so soft and sweet that I had no choice. My love, I'm praying for a whisper in my ear, just a sound to make it clear. So I'm sitting.
And you could really hear like the openness and air that it really adds to everything, which is amazing. So this is a really great emulation of an EQ from the 1068 or 8068 console, excuse me, from the 1970s, made by Rupert Neve and by Neve. So Universal Audio. From their UAD collection. This is the Neve 31102 EQ.